Is that... Oh God.
Don't be afraid.
Please, you're too scary. I don't understand you.
Say my name. What am I?
You're...
Yes.
You're...
Go on.
the third conditional! Today we're looking at the third conditional, the poor conditional that nobody likes.
We might use conditionals for things we wish would happen, for things that might happen in the future. If you're not familiar with any of the conditionals, try watching this video first where we explain all of them.
This video is dedicated to the third conditional, the most confusing. So let's go.
So first, I think it's important to understand why we use it and when we use it. We can talk about how to make it later. We use the third conditional to imagine a different past. Say it with me now. We use the third conditional to imagine a different past. We are using our imaginations to imagine different versions of past events. We use it to explain that if something had been different in the past, the results would have been different as well.
So imagine this. You arrive at work and everybody's talking about this amazing party that you weren't invited to. They say to you, "Oh, you should have come to the party." And you say, "Well, I would have come if I had been invited." And they say, "Awkward."
So here you are telling the people at work that in a different version of the past, where they gave you an invitation, you would have gone to the party. But the reality is they didn't give you an invitation. So you can only imagine what life would have been like if they did. We are imagining a different version of the past.
Imagine this. You bake something for your mother-in-law, but you accidentally put salt in it instead of sugar. Your mother-in-law says, "Oh, this apple pie is incredibly salty." And you say, "Well, it would have been delicious if I had used sugar instead of salt. Sorry."
Again, you are imagining a different past, imagining the delicious apple pie you could have had if you hadn't put salt in there instead of sugar.
Imagine this. You have tickets to see Cher in concert, but you sleep in too late and you miss it. So you say, "If I had woken up earlier, I would have seen Cher in concert."
I like to think of the third conditional as the regretful conditional. We often use it to talk about regrets and how things could have been different in the past.
So let's look a little bit further at how to make the third conditional.
To make the third conditional, we have two clauses, an if clause and a result clause. So to make the if clause, you need if plus the past perfect. If you're not sure about the past perfect, we've made a video about that, so you can watch that there. The other clause, the result clause, you need subject plus would have or wouldn't have, depending on the sentence, then a past participle. So if I had studied, that's the past perfect. So if I had studied, I would have passed the test. Past is the past participle of to pass. So we're using that form of the verb. If I had studied, I would have passed the test. And you can put the clause in any order. So you can say, I would have passed the test if I had studied. It doesn't matter. The only difference is in writing, if you put the if clause first, you have to put a comma. The if clause is the condition. The result clause is the result of that condition. It's the change. It's the thing that would have been different. So the condition, if I had studied, and then the result, what would change? What would be different about your life? I would have passed the test. Got it, Bez?
I think so. Let's look at a couple more examples. I would have gone to the party if I had received an invitation. So, would have plus come. I would have come. Come is the past participle of come. Then we have if plus the past perfect. If I had received an invitation. Again, we can swap these around. If I had received an invitation, I would have come to the party.
Let's look at another example. It would have been delicious if I had used sugar instead of salt. So with this one, we're starting with would have, so subject, it would have. Then our verb is to be, because my clause, I'm talking about an adjective. Delicious is the most important thing. So we change be to been, because that is the past participle. Be, been. So it would have been delicious. She would have been happier. I would have been sad. If you're using an adjective, you need to say been.
Then if and the past perfect. If I had used sugar instead of salt. But again, we can switch these around. If I had used sugar instead of salt, it would have been delicious.
Let's look at one more example. If I had woken up earlier, I would have seen Cher in concert. To start off with, we have if plus the past perfect. If I had woken up earlier. You didn't wake up earlier. This is an imagined past. We are imagining. If I had woken up earlier. Then the result of that changed behaviour, I would have seen Cher in concert. That's the result. That's what I could have had, but I didn't have that because I woke up too late.
One of the reasons why this is such a hard conditional to understand is because you have to be confident with using the past perfect, which is pretty tough. And you have to remember which part goes where.
A lot of our students get mixed up and say, if I would have. No. So the if clause is with the past perfect. So if I had, or if I had seen, etc. Would have is the result clause. It's the other bit. So we don't say if I would have or if she would have. Here's a sentence in the third conditional. Can you fill in the blanks?
If she harder, she her boss. What do you think? The answer is, if she had worked harder, she would have impressed her boss.
They the train if they the house earlier. This one's a bit tricky. They wouldn't have missed the train if they had left the house earlier. So this one's in the negative, so they would not have missed the train if they had left the house earlier. But they didn't leave the house earlier, so they missed the train.
If it yesterday, we to the beach. What do you think? The answer is, if it hadn't rained yesterday, we would have gone to the beach. But it did rain yesterday, so we didn't go to the beach.
I my keys if you me. What do you think? What do you think? I wouldn't have forgotten my keys if you had reminded me. So the condition, if you had reminded me, I wouldn't have forgotten my keys. That would be the result. But the reality is, you didn't remind me, so I forgot my keys.
And the last one, if he his parents, he the accident. What do you think? Tricky? Easy? If he had listened to his parents, he would have avoided the accident. How did you do in the quiz?
And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. Be sure to go to smashingenglish.com where you can find all of our amazing English courses. If you want to become a member of this channel, click join and you'll get all these lovely benefits. Thanks so much for watching and I will see you next time. Ta-ta!